Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Mohikaa Creates. Today I am here with another watercolor tutorial for you all, in which I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful reference of the lovebirds. So I've already drawn the reference and now I'm erasing it using a kneadable eraser from Amariz Doms. I'm using a kneadable eraser because we only need to rub it lightly, and it's a bit hard to do it with the regular eraser. If you have control on your regular eraser, you can use that as well. Just make sure you don't erase your drawing completely so that it's easier for you to understand where to put which color. So after erasing, I'm going to show you which watercolors I am going to use and other materials. So I'm using the watercolor tubes from DOMS. These are very affordable. You can find it at any stationery. These are the brushes from Brustro, and these are the only brushes we are going to be using in this whole tutorial. And a 00 brush from Weston, like this. You can use any other brand brushes as well, but make sure that you're using round brushes which are in these sizes only, or near to these sizes if you don't have these. So in watercolors, we are gonna work layer by layer. And in the first layer, we are just giving the base, which is a flat wash of the yellow ochre shade from DOMS. And flat wash is basically an even spread of the color. Like, it's not light or dark somewhere, it's an even wash. So we are just gonna give the flat washes as the base right now. So you need to keep the first layer very light, water should be more, and the color should be just a drop. As we're gonna build up the color layer by layer, we're gonna go from light to dark, not dark to light. And why do we keep the first layer very light? Because in watercolors, the technique is to preserve the whites of the areas. You cannot go from dark to light. If you have already applied the darkest layer first, you cannot make it light in watercolor. It will snatch the beauty out of it. And also, guys, while you are making the lightest wash, which like I am doing here for the yellow, you do not need to mix white with it. You should never mix white with watercolors as it takes out the transparency of the watercolor. You just need to add more water till your desired light color, and it is possible in every color. You can see, like you can see for the beak, I am using a very diluted wash of the black color to make gray. I am not using black and white to make gray, right? So whichever color you have, you just have to ensure that you take a very little bit quantity of color in the beginning to set the base, and gradually we will be adding more colors to show the depth in the areas which we require. But for now, we are just making a flat wash all across. And yes, the areas which are very dark, like the parrot's details, I tried to do it first, but we won't do it completely right now because we will be adding a base color there also. So I'm sorry, guys. My recording stopped in between, so I couldn't show you the red parrot. But it is the same as we did for the blue parrot. We just set the base of the red parrot using the Carmine shade. Remember to add more water where the shade is very dull reddish pink, like I have done. Just like this, you have to give your base layer and make sure that you take time in it. This is a time lapse video. Watercolor takes a lot of time and patience, so you need to be patient with it. While doing the first layer, you need to be extremely careful of the light areas, as in watercolors we are preserving the whites, so you cannot paint white over from the top. You have to leave the white area for the original watercolor beauty to show. This is the original method. If you will not be patient during the first layer of your watercolor, you might ruin your whole drawing, because we really need to preserve the whites in the first layer. If you make the first layer darker, you cannot go back to making it lighter. So now guys, I am adding a bit of the darker tones, the mid tones right now. These are not the final dark values. Still, we are not gonna go directly on the details. In watercolor, the first base and the second base should never include the details. If you can add a bit of the details, like I have done a bit of the eye of the other parrot and all, but just make sure that area is not gonna be touched again by you. And if you are touching it, then make sure that the color or the water, if you're doing the base over it, does not go there. If you're that confident, then you can do it like this. But my suggestion to you as a beginner would be, first you apply the base wash, and in the second layer we are gonna do refine the base more. We are gonna add the color values which we are seeing in the reference, and just darken up the those areas and build our drawing more. So to make this dark reddish shade, I have mixed burnt sienna, carmine, and just very tiny drop of black. So the thing with watercolors is you can definitely add a bit of other colors to make it darker. Most probably you can use complementary colors if you're not getting the desired look by adding black or brown. But here it was working for me, so I have used those only. But adding white to a color steals the transparency out of it. And why does that happen? It's because the white color is naturally opaque, but in watercolors, we are looking for transparency because watercolor is a transparent medium. So, adding an opaque color to a transparent color will steal the transparency out of it. It will make it look opaque. So, now that I'm mostly done with my base, I have switched to the blue parrot, and now I'm making the very tiniest details of it using the number 2 brush from Brustro. And here also, even though the area which I'm drawing right now, it is darker, but since my lines underneath have are not visible anymore, so I am just taking very light color till I'm sure of the shape and the drawing, because light color can be merged or picked up in watercolors, and you just have to use a wet soft fluffy brush to do that. And this technique is called lifting. If you have by chance made your shade way too dark than you intended it to be, you can always lift up the color using a clean wet brush and just picking the color up using it. So now most of the detailing is done, and since I'm sure of the position and the drawing now I have darkened it and I have added more shades to it, and we have just built it up layer by layer. You don't have to go extremely dark in one go. You have to go dark only on the outlines which you are seeing in your reference as the darkest points, and then you just apply washes of blue color. And for this blue, I have mixed Prussian blue and cobalt blue according to the shade which I required. If your reference is more of the Prussian side, or in your mobile the images color is a little bit different because all our mobile screens show different colors, so you can adjust the color according to what you are seeing in your phone or in your reference image. So now for darkening the yellow ochre, I have mixed a bit of very tiny bit of blue and some orange for the areas where I wanted to give a little bit golden effect. So we are just darkening the yellow ochre and we're adding the details with it using the same number 2 brush. You can use any small round brush which has a pointed tip to add such fine details. So now we are done with the first two layers, which were the base layers, and the second layer we just enhanced the darker parts a bit. We just gave the idea of which color was where and we just brought that out, and now we are on the detailing layer, which is the third layer and the final stage in which we will be refining things up and doing the final shades. So in this stage you are focusing on the very tiny details, very small amounts of color you are seeing in your reference, like this green color which could not be done using a you know bigger round brush. So for this stage you will need a very pointed brush. So as you can see, I have merged a little bit green on the blue, and it's giving such a beautiful mixed shade on its own, because that is what watercolors do. It blends really well. And try not to overwork your watercolor paintings that much. Let the watercolor do its own thing. Let it be. Don't try to make things very perfect, or don't overwork your paintings, as I would suggest. Work till the point where you feel it is necessary for um, your subject to come out to life, for your subject to become more 3D and realistic. I am showing a sped up process now of the details of the red parrot now. So we are doing the same things as we did in the second layer for the blue parrot in the yellow region, but since these details are very much precise and her feathers are showing even more and the color is shifting in very tiny areas, so we are using this small round brush to achieve this, and that's why we have put it in the third layer, because it has very tiny details. For the blue parrot also we will be adding more details, as we just gave a base in the second layer for the feathers, but those are not the proper shape yet. So in this point I want you guys to carefully observe how quickly I am changing my brushes and the pigments. I'm not using a single shade of carmine or burnt sienna. I'm using mixed shades, mixed washes, adding a bit of orange in the areas where I want a peacher look. So even if you see the whole as a red parrot, it's not red. It has many different shades and hues mixed together to achieve that realistic look. So now, as I said before, we are gonna add more details to the blue parrot. This is exactly why I stopped with the black details, because these grey details of the feathers were coming underneath my parrot. So even if you do a mistake like I did, that I made the black part before in the first layer, stop there only. Don't make the complete details. You can still fix it like I did. Or when you are applying from top, make sure that your base color does not get mixed with the black color, otherwise it will give a very muddy effect, and of course the black color will spread as its watercolor and it will ruin your painting. So yeah, it happens sometimes with beginners, it happens with me also, but the more you learn and more you learn how to control your brush and practice, you will get the hang of it eventually, and you will know how to fix your mistakes. The more you try, the more mistakes you make, the more you will learn and be able to correct and teach yourself also. So yeah, as I always say, practice is the key, guys. I'm sorry for the blur effects in between, but I did not want to cut it, as I wanted to show you guys the process as much as possible. And for the background, I am just doing whatever my heart wishes. I'm not exactly copying the reference, but I'm trying to give a bit of the look. But for the background part, I think you guys need to have some fun. You can't just always be all work and no fun, right? So make sure you're enjoying things as you're painting. And here is the most enjoyable part, which is peeling the tape off, which is super satisfying. And with that, our tutorial is complete. Here is the final look, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. And do let me know in the comment section if you want a specific video. Until then, goodbye. See you.